So everybody knows the gaming crash of the 80s. It was a horrible time for gaming. Everybody who lived through the gaming crash knew it. There were no good games, and there was nothing good coming out. There's more cash grabs and more cash grabs and more cash grabs. And there were too many consoles, too many games coming out. Too many low quality games. Right now we have a few consoles. The three we had since Sega left the console race. We had Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. But AAA developers seem to be another gaming crash is about to happen. There are only a few companies that will not be affected, of course, and that's because they pump out quality games. Most indie developers, of course, won't be affected unless talk about that one developer that sold out to, of course, Epic Game Store. And there are 5 reasons why the gaming industry is gonna crash. Number 1, Epic Game Store. Yes, everybody's least favorite website, Epic Game Store, is one of the reasons why the gaming industry is gonna crash. The Epic Game Store is basically one of the worst things in the entire gaming industry, and as you all know, gamers hate this site. Epic Game Store just bought Rocket League, thus so it isn't on Steam anymore. Yes, that's how it is. They also, and then of course, don't remember that Borderlands 3 is a 6-month store exclusive, which means most of the players will have to wait 6 months, and Epic Game Store does not have a good thing to put on. They're not good. They're throwing down ultimatums for Steam, and they're trying to get developers from Steam, and gamers are still not using this website. The only people... a lot of gamers are not using the website. It's not all, but sales are down for the Division 2 on PC and Metro Exodus for PC. They're up on the PS4 and Xbox One, but on the PC they're down. Actually, they're up because Metro Last Light was a flop, but that isn't saying that much. Epic Game Store is one of the most hated websites, and they're trying to bring gaming exclusivity to the PC. Something that nobody wants. Exclusive games promote pirating, which will result in a loss of profits for developers. But it seems that Epic Game Stores and AAA developers are going to start doubling down on Epic Game Store. Number 4, low quality games. Low quality games were one of the made crash eminence. Low-rated games were always a staple of the year, but then we have Mortal Kombat 11, Anthem, and many other games getting bad reviews. We have Anthem. Like, if you got Metacritic, look at Mortal Kombat 11. Most people say it was one of the most anticipated games of the year. 2.8. Anthem, Jump Force, and a few other games, a similar thing. Number 3. Microtransactions. Yes, you all know we're going to talk about microtransactions. Most of these low scores are attributed to microtransactions in on-disc DLC. They actually paused all the user reviews for Mortal Kombat 11. That's just hilarious. Basically, microtransactions are the bane of gamers' existence. People don't want them, but EA and so many other greedy developers want to force them down people's throats. And you know why? Because they're greedy. And gamers are getting sick of this, and they're giving low reviews and telling people not to buy games, resulting in games like Fallout 76 and Mortal Kombat 11 having lower sales. Of course, they'll say, oh, it's because people are buying more digital games, but when we realize that it's both affecting both retail and digital games, you got a problem now. Fallout 76 only sold 1 million if in a week. A Fallout game will usually sell 5 million in a week, but it only sold 1 million. Number 2. Indie games. But why are indie games contributing to the crash? Well, indie games are attracting most of the people who play these AAA games to their games. It's just that simple. Indie games don't care about microtransactions, unless, of course, it's a mobile developer. But indie games do not do that. They try to make good and fun experiences for gamers, And they're taking away gay people from the developers, which means AAA game developers, unless you play on Nintendo consoles and buy Nintendo games. Basically, AAA developers are losing gamers to these indie games, and that's basically why indie games are also can help contribute to the crash. Indie games don't crash, but they'll help AAA games crash. If you know what I'm saying. That's what I was saying the whole time. AAA games are going to be crashed by superior indie games. And of course, the number one reason why there's going to be a gaming crash. You got all we talking about here. Diskless consoles. Of course, of course, PC gamers will not be affected by this. Anyway, is there a better reason for gaming? Is there a better reason gaming? Crash. Number 5. Developers don't care. Easily, the number one reason is EA. Capcom seems to be learning the lesson, but not EA, Activision, and many Western developers. Only Japanese developers are listening. Only Japanese developers. Like Capcom, not Konami. No, not Konami. Konami is dead. Nobody likes them anymore. But the Japanese developers seem to be listening, but Western developers, particularly EA, don't care. They continue doing the same thing, the same greedy, slimy practices they have been doing for the last 10 years, attacking fans of certain franchises. Activision is doubling down on Call of Duty games, trying to make sure people buy their microtransactions, and various other developers are doing the same. Fallout 76 is one of them. We have one extra one. Online-only games. Yes, online-only games, people hate them. Why? Because what if your power... Oh, wait, that means you won't be able to play your Xbox. What if your power out and you can still play your laptop and all those things, but you can't charge them until the power goes back on? Or what's to say the internet just stops working? And you want to play Destiny. You can't play it because it's online only. What's the point of playing a game if you can't play it offline? It doesn't make any sense. Especially if the game has a story mode, and you have to experience for the story, but online is off for a day, you have to play something else, and that's the only game you have playing, so I guess you're in tough luck. But that's reasons why the gaming industry is about to crash. It seems it's more and more evident as it goes on. But why won't Nintendo and indie games be affected? Well, good question. Indie games are known for having... Look at the top 10 best PS4 games of the year by users. Nier Automata, that's a Wii release, but most of these are either indie games or... No, by user reviews, not critics, because critics, they're blinded like seeps. Games that come out this year for the PS4, let's just say the PS4. Resident Evil Heroes of Cold Steel, that's an indie game. Devil May Cry, that's a Japanese. It's funny how these are all Japanese or indie games. So, and all the AAA games are down here. So, yes, there is another gaming crash impending, and there's gonna be nothing we can do about it. It's gonna be very hard to avoid it, and it's gonna happen on all consoles of AAA games. Excuse me. But you look at the Switch, all the indie games are getting very great reviews. So yes, indie games will not be affected as indie developers continue, despite some of them not being that great, like Penny and the Ink Machine and Five Nights at Freddy's. But most indie games tend to be quality games that lots of people like. And I actually apologize for trashing on indie games. And of course, we all know Nintendo will not be affected, as Nintendo has always pushed out quality games, and that's basically Nintendo. Nintendo has always pushed out quality games that usually sell well anyways. So we're not worried about Nintendo.